First of all, I wanted to just say thank you, Chamber. And I was going to give a quick um, off the script kind of testimony of for years I worked as a soloist. I was a member of the chamber, but not really plugged in, not really coming to all the functions. And I'd say in the last year, I was in this leadership class and I was reading Stephen Covey's Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. And I got to this section where it was talking about independent people and interdependent people. And it just really nailed me. I was a very independent advisor. I was working hard for my clients, but I really wasn't networking in my city with other people. So I started getting more involved in the chamber, and it's been wonderful. And actually, business has been better and more fun. So thank you guys. Just a plug for the chamber. So learned my lesson. And so and part of this, I wanted to, whenever you get anything good happen in your life, first of all, I want to thank the good Lord for what He's done in my life. But I want to give great thanks to two people. Rhonda Starkey's my client account manager. She's been with me 12 years. She couldn't be here today. But let me tell you, she's put up with me for a long, long time. And we've had some heart to hearts where she helped straighten me out. So I want to give thanks to Rhonda, and I want to give thanks to my wife. Today's her birthday. And so we're going to celebrate that. And talking about putting up with somebody for a long time. 42 years, a lot of forgiveness on her part in my direction. She's my accounts payable, accounts receivable, best cheerleader. She's a lot of part of anything good happening in my life. Grateful and humble and honored just to be here and be a part of what y'all are doing in the city. And so to be small business in a month is quite a surprise, and but a tremendous honor. For 30 years, I've had the privilege to working with successful business owners, their key people, and starting to work with retirees and families in our community. And I wanted to start just with a short little story. People ask me sometimes, how'd you get in the financial services, insurance, investment world? Well, it kind of took me back to as a high schooler. We used to have a lot of people come in our house, and my dad was fabulous. He's a great fan of mine and encourager. Well, our good family friend Jack came by, and Jack had been in a lot of different careers. Well, he came by this time, and Jack was in the insurance business at this time. And he sat down with my dad, and they put in place an insurance policy, and I think Jack might have gotten out of the business. But I was in high school at that time. Right after college, my dad, super robust, strong man, surprisingly got sick. And within a year passed away. And I remember my mom pulling me aside and telling me how that policy, that 30-minute meeting with Jack, had really helped her financially. And that stuck with me. It really made me say, gosh, what are things I can do with my life to impact other people? And that really made quite an imprint on me and had a lot to do with me wanting to get into business. I want to talk to you real quickly about what we think, how we make decisions, how we serve people. So we protect income, we do individual planning with people, we strengthen businesses. A lot of times the individuals we started working with became managers, and then they became business owners, and so they trusted us with their small things, and they said, can you help us serve our teams that help us with business? Then they started saying, hey, we want to save towards college and retirement, so we started helping them with their savings. And then people started pulling us in and saying, hey, mom and dad are slowing down. Can you help us with some counsel on how to help them plan their lives out, make sure they always have dignity, that help them with legacy planning, passing the baton to the next generation. I wanted to just go through a couple of things. Y'all remember the Wizard of Oz? Who remembers the Wizard of Oz? So remember the great Oz. Did he want people to see him behind that curtain? No. He was hiding who he was. He had this terrible persona, this kind of frightening persona of somebody that you tremble. And remember Dorothy and Toto and the scary part, they came in and they were really scared. Well, we pull back the curtain. It's the opposite of that. We're not trying to hide who we are. We're trying to be completely transparent with people about how we serve. And so if we were to give our guiding principle, is love your neighbor. And that's just everything else, the golden rule, everything else spins around that. And so how does that look? How does loving your neighbor look in a business environment? So first of all, it challenges us to really listen. How would you feel if you went into your doctor's office and suddenly he pulled out a prescription and hadn't checked your vitals, hadn't talked to you, didn't know anything about your life, and didn't look at your medical records? Take these. Well, sadly, that can happen in my industry. People have products and services that they promote without finding anything out about you and what's important to you. So we try to listen empathically. We try to understand your values, your core values, and the things that are important to you and what you want to happen in your life. Another quick story about what loving your neighbor should look like. I would run into business owners and they would need some help. Well, they had a health issue. Well, I worked primarily when I first started with one company. And this company was strong in some areas, but it didn't cover everything. So if you come into somebody who had serious health issues, maybe this company couldn't help them. I had nowhere to go. And so I was kind of stuck. And so then I would run into people who had different avocations. Like I was calling on a business owner and pristine, beautiful business in the Raleigh RTP area. And well, this guy's hobbies during the weekend was drag racing. Get that? I mean, he looked like this professional guy. He spent all his money, and he did well with his business, drag racing. And so I went to my company I was working with, and they said, we're not touching that. And so I was stuck. And so then, you run into airplane pilots, or you run into doctors with certain niches, and it was like one company couldn't handle it at all. So, and the last part of this story was, I was with a super fun company. I had a business owner. It was a family business. We had $1 million term policy with me, and we were doing an annual review. And we sat down, and my friend told me, "Hey, Bob, your $1 million policy, thank you. It gives me financial security, but it says I was researching. I can get a $2 million policy for almost exactly the same price as your $1 million. Did you know that?" I said, "No, because I've never been taught about other companies." And so I went back to my boss and I told him the story, and I told him also, this guy does not want to buy anything but term. He wants to buy term, invest in difference, because his business is trading stocks. And he does very well at it. So he doesn't want whole life, variable life, universal life. He doesn't want that. So I told my boss all this, and he goes, "Well, Bob, we're better." And I said, "Wait a minute, we're better? What do I tell him if his wife becomes a widow, and I give her $1 million less than she would have gotten with this other company? Are they better?" And so that was kind of the crux where I decided I must build an independent agency. I must be able to listen to people and go find things in the marketplace that fit their needs and not try to have a company's agenda. So loving your neighbor are some of these things over here. We went brand neutral. We have no favorites. We listen and we go find what's the best fit for people. Competitively objective. Are they competitive? They have financial strength. Are they objective? Can we be objective with them? So there's no proprietary products. So like if people come to us about healthcare, certainly we have Blue Cross, but it's not the only solution. We've got all the major companies to go to. Life insurance, there's umpteen. So we really listen to people. So loving your neighbor shapes how you solve their problems, what kind of products you have, the variety that you have. Make a promise to clients to try to keep things simple for them. We're going to educate you, we're not going to pressure you. Anybody here been in a sales environment where somebody was putting you to the wall. You know, if you don't do this, and what I would tell you is, it's not just them. Likely they have a sales manager behind them saying, if you don't make a certain amount of sales, then you're gone. And so a lot of people live in that environment. And early in my career, I did. But we worked hard. We created a system where there is no pressure from us, and there's nobody behind us, no sales managers pushing us to do things that are not in somebody's best interest. So loving your neighbor helps them to relax and to let us educate. Lastly, loving your neighbor is built through relationships. You know, this is a trust thing that we aim for the long haul when we're working with people. It's not a hit and run approach. It's really to listen, to have a long-term mentality, and it's earned. Your trust is earned. It's not something that anybody is going to give you. So lastly, what I would say to you guys is, if you or someone you care about would value a personalized, no pressure, values-driven approach to planning in your financial world, we'd be honored to have a conversation about that. And even if it's simply just to review what you already have, to get a professional opinion about, am I well positioned, we'd love to do that for you. So in closing, we're optimistic about Rocky Mount, about the city on the rise, about the chamber and networking with you guys. And I think we all have one of the greatest opportunities ahead of us that we possibly could to thrive together. So thank you very much for the opportunity to be Small Business of the Month.
Good morning and welcome to the March Small Business of the Month presentation. Bob, first of all, I thought your remarks were really, really good. Thought-provoking. I'm going to tell y'all a little story before we present this that you don't remember and you don't remember. Once upon a time, there was a little restaurant in the Imperial Center, and they served coffee and things like that. And I met with Dr. Susie Watson there maybe every other week or something. She was talking about doing some things with the business, and she and I had been good buddies, good friends for a long time. And I noticed a couple on the table. Put your hand in Bob's. Bob was on one side, she was on the other side. And that's the first time I had ever seen y'all. And it made a very lasting impression. I think I even said something to Dr. Watson and said, that's a nice couple. I don't know if they're married. I don't know if they're married. I don't know what it is, but they're locked in with each other. It was eye to eye. It really was. But it made a lasting impression. And that's been, good Lord, 15, 20 years ago. Yeah, a long time ago. But anyway, we are grateful for all you do, not only within the chamber, and Bob has gotten very active in the chamber. He serves on committees, he shows up at just about everything, is a willing participant. The answer is yes, what do you need? And I'm also a member of Rotary with Bob, and Bob does the same thing at Rotary. So if he's in, he's all in. And that makes a big, big difference, Bob. And so Erin Gall, who is our chair of Small Business Committee, could not be here this morning, but she sends her very best. And this is a presentation, Small Business of the Month winner for March of 2026, proudly presented to Landmark Financial Services. Congratulations on this recognition as a premier small business with the Rocky Mount Area Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for your investment in our city and your contribution to our community and our chamber. With best wishes, it's signed by Erin along with myself. This also will make you eligible for Small Business of the Year. And that celebration takes place, where's Tony? June, towards the end of June. And you'll be eligible for additional years after that as well. But we want to present this to you both. And congratulations, and you have our very best wishes in the future.
Thank you.
And again, thank you for all you do with the chamber, with Rotary, and the Twin Counties.
Man, thank you.